Hello and welcome to the NCM informational webinar for New School of Architecture and Design. We're going to talk today about the Masters of Construction Management degree program that you can do in your own time in a year. And we're going to talk through what that looks like, who it's for. We're going to give you a background on who New School is and how we came about, what our Masters of Construction Management program is. We're going to talk about what a construction manager is. You may be from a background that's not construction or design related, and that's perfectly fine. We have a lot of different undergrads that come in to our program from different fields, and this could still be a great opportunity for you. We'll look at the industry outlook. Where is the industry going? What's the current demand for professional construction managers? We'll go over some of the details of what we talk about in the program, what the courses are and what the outcomes are, and then we're going to wrap up with how you would go about applying to be a part of this program. So first, let me introduce who I am. I am Steve Matley. I am the chair of the program, and I welcome you to this webinar. Very happy to have you on board. We're very proud of our Masters in Construction Management program. It is unique, it is different, and the best thing is it's completely online with top-notch faculty. You get it done in a year. I have a background in construction management as a general contractor, as an agency construction manager, as the vice president of a production home builder, as a consultant, as a developer, as a land acquisition specialist. So I've been around the block a few times, and I love sharing information with the next generation coming up. I learned this industry from people that took time to teach me and talk to me because my background in education is in business, and was very successful in the industry, and I believe it's a privilege and an obligation to pass on to the next generation. So before we move on, I want to introduce you to one of our enrollment specialists. She is the person you're going to contact, or one of her cohorts, when you first contact us about the program. So Stephanie Powers has been with us several years, and she is one of our best enrollment specialists. So Stephanie, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie Powers, and like Steve said, I'm an enrollment specialist here at the New School of Architecture and Design. And I just want to talk a little bit about who we are here at New School. New School has been in the East Village for about 30 years, so we're not exactly new, as you would say. We're the new old school. Anyhow, we are accredited by WASC, which is the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. We're also architecturally or programmatically accredited by NAB, which is, for our architecture programs. Moving on, I'd like to talk a little bit about our president, Marvin Malika. Not only has he been in the architectural field for 40 plus years, but also in the educational field for 30 plus years. So he really knows this, area well, not only as a working architect, but in education and construction management as a whole. So let's talk a little bit about the programs that we have for construction management. We have an undergraduate program, which is on campus only, and then we have our only online program, which is the Master of Construction Management. Now, I'd like to send it back to Steve. He wants to talk a little bit more in depth about construction management, as far as, what it entails and how to go about becoming a construction manager.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. You'll hear from Stephanie again in a little bit when we get to the part about how you would apply to be one of our candidates. So construction management at New School. We are fortunate that New School is located in downtown San Diego, in an area that is right now booming with construction life. In fact, some of the pictures you'll see are from our very neighborhood right across the street, where we have multiple towers going up. The on-ground version of our program, the bachelor's degree, is great because we're in a lab. Anytime people don't understand, we just put the hard hats on, walk across the street, and start looking. Online, of course, you'll have to do a little bit of your own research, but the great thing is we are in the energy and the vibe of the construction boom that's going on right now. And I know it's going on in a lot of places across the country, but California, the West Coast, is really exploding right now, and it's great to be a part of it. So our program is designed to help you be successful in this business, whether you are already in the business or trying to break into it. So how do we get to the master's degree program? Who is in our program? Well, actually, the most prevalent undergraduate degree for the students that come in is architecture. And this makes sense because the industry is becoming very transdisciplinary or integrated. The days of the industry working in independent silos where designers worked in their corner and engineers worked in their corners, contractors worked in their corners, and owners just tried to figure out what was going on, those are over. Design build is what's going on now, and integrated project delivery is the wave of the future. And that means all the disciplines sitting around the table from the start to the finish working together as one cohesive team. So you may be one of those students, potential students that has an architecture undergrad, and maybe the reason that you are watching this or listening to this right now is because you're in a situation where as you graduated, you got put in a position where you had to manage projects, but nobody taught you how to do that in architecture school. Maybe you're a civil engineer or a structural engineer. You got the same experience where now you have to manage projects and nobody taught you project management or how that works. Now this is why you'd be looking into this. And this is where this degree is a great fit for those people that are non-CM undergrads. Perhaps you're a business undergrad, as I was. A business undergrad, I actually have a master's in business as well. I went into the business of construction. And construction management truly is the business side of construction. We don't engineer, we don't design, we don't build anything. We are the orchestra leaders, and we'll get to that in a minute, but we are the people that help implement the plan. And it's from a business perspective, balancing always time, money, quality, and safety. And then you may already have a construction management undergrad, and perhaps what you're looking for is to advance. We do have a lot of our students with undergraduate degrees in construction management who are looking to move up to the next level of management, get into executive level, get into that C-suite, and this is a very important stepping stone to help them get there. Maybe you are in the contracting game and you never, you're trying to improve your ability to run your business as a business, and this will help with that. We really focus a lot on the higher end thinking of construction management. So, or any other of the design disciplines or engineering disciplines, it's the same story. So there's a lot of different undergrads. Perhaps you have an undergraduate degree in something completely unrelated, and that's not a problem. You'll have a little bit of prerequisite study to do on your own, and your instructors will help you out with that to get some background for it. But we do have students in here that have nothing to do with construction or design that are successful in this. Okay, so who's the degree for? Well, we just went through a lot of that. Design, engineering, and other professionals who are working in design build environments, construction managers looking to move up the ladder, different professionals in the construction industry with non-construction degrees that are looking to focus on their discipline, and other non-construction or engineering related degrees that come in. Perhaps you're looking for a complete shift in your career, and this is a good opportunity to do that. The fact is the construction industry pays extremely well, has a very high employment rate right now, and you're in very much demand. So what does our program do? What are we gonna look at in our program? Well, we use technology in our program. We use the BIM models, and we use the spreadsheets, and we use the scheduling software and estimating softwares. But the truth is we're not a tech program because construction is not about the technology. Technology is just the tools. So we focus on the methodologies, how we're going to do the construction management, the knowledge and the terminology, the processes and systems that we use, how to analyze and evaluate, how to make decisions, how to solve the problems, how to form teams, manage teams, and lead teams in a way to get the desired outcomes. That can be done no matter how the software changes. If we focused on a particular software, that would be rapidly outdated. And what we don't want to do is have you spend time in this program only to graduate and find out most of what you learned is obsolete. What we teach is applicable far into the future, and we are looking at how to help you be the person that can think through a project and lead a team to success regardless of how the tools and technology change. When I first started in the education side of this, the height of technology, the state of the art, was a digitizer. Well, we haven't used digitizers for about the last 10 years. So that went away. We have different methods now. What does a construction manager do? Well, it's a term that can be bandied about for a lot of different things, but we'll try to pin it down a little bit for you here. And it may be a little different than your experience with construction managers. But construction managers plan, coordinate, budget, supervise the projects. They marshal the resources. The resources they're marshaling are going to be the materials and the labor, the equipment, the real estate, the owner's needs, making all that happen. We do estimating of the project. Now, estimating doesn't mean We go in and measure everything up and then get quotes. That's a part of it. But estimating could be trying to figure out that first question. And for those of you with design or architecture backgrounds working in the industry, you know that the first question an owner asks before they've got anything, even a sketch, is how long is it going to take and how much is it going to cost? And unfortunately, you were never taught how to do that if you went to architecture or design school. And that is something you need to have. And so we look at how do you estimate a project, even from a conceptual level, when you've got nothing to work on? And there are ways to do that fairly accurately. How do we administer the contract? Because essentially we are not just managing the construction, we're managing a contract, all the terms and conditions that go with it. There's a lot more than construction that goes into this process. How do we manage the job site and the construction operations, all the coordination of 40 to 50 subcontractors and all the deliveries and the inspections and everything that's got to go on? How do we plan and schedule the project? Can we figure out how we build the project in our head first, sequentially figuring out each and every task that has to be done, the order it needs to be done, and how long each one's going to take, what can be overlapped, what needs to be sequential, that we think through that process. How do we monitor the project for performance? We can make the best plan in the world, but if it's not executing correctly, that doesn't matter. How do we always constantly through the project, as quickly as possible, analyze what we're getting to see if it matches our plan and know how to fix it? The quality of the project. Can we manage the quality and the deliverables coming out of the project to make sure it meets the owner's requirements? And the safety of the project. Safety is a huge deal. Every project I know, every construction company I know, the goal is everybody goes home safely every day, no exceptions. And that also goes for the end users of the project, those who will occupy the buildings. And then assessing project risk, understanding how to identify risk, assess them, and mitigate those risks. So what is the construction industry? You know, I've been very proud to be part of the construction industry. The construction industry provides one of the three basics that we all need. There's food, shelter, and clothing, and construction provides the shelter for your work, the shelter for where you live, the shelter for where you are entertained, the shelter for where you worship, the shelter for where you exercise, the shelter for where you do everything you do in your life to keep you safe, to keep you comfortable, to protect you from the environment around you. We conquer distances. You don't have to walk out the next 6-7 months of your life if you want to get from, say, Virginia to Oregon and get on the wagon train anymore. We have freeways to do that now. We have airports that do that now. We have infrastructure that has been built by the construction industry. Harness energy, the energy we need every day. The reason you are listening to this webinar right now is because there's energy that was harnessed to make this happen. And the construction industry provided that, the entire grid. Create public spaces, the parks and the national forests and all those different things that we can provide. Even it's as simple as just providing public restroom facilities or a front fence or something. Those are all things that are necessary, and even rough roads. Provide education, entertainment, and commerce. You know, we're sitting in an education building right now as we talk to you. This was provided by somebody. It was built and rebuilt and rebuilt and rebuilt because it's an older building. So everything we do, how the businesses that are around you, even if with nowadays where you can just on the computer click a button and something shows up magically 24 hours later, guess what? All that process came through some type of a building and transportation infrastructure. A means of employment in construction. Construction is one of the leading indicators of our economy. Construction is 10% of the U.S. gross domestic product. It's a big part of us. Create manufacture resources and products. Everything you have touched, seen, felt came from somewhere, and it probably came from a built environment somewhere where it was manufactured and shipped. Protection from natural disasters. Obviously, construction gets a boom, unfortunately, when there's disasters. That's actually good for the construction business, and we help rebuild. We help put lives back together again after fires, earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes. And we do the stuff that is just part of the human experience, which is building the monuments and landmarks that mark every culture, society since the beginning of time. We know every great culture on the planet based upon the construction that was left behind. So resources, again, we just coordinate and marshal materials, people, equipment, the real estate, the owner's requirements, and we put all that together to make it happen. How do we get what the owner wants onto the piece of property they have? So let's talk about where the construction manager fits in the puzzle, if you're not familiar with how this works. So there are the design side, which is the architects and the engineers, And the specialty designers, like your landscape architects, interior designers, and your specialty engineers, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, those type of things. They're consultants, and they plan whatever structure it is, whether it's a freeway, a harbor, a bridge, a high rise, a school, whatever it is. Then there's the trades and the general contractors. They build the structures. They take what's on the paper and put it in the ground. The construction manager is that catalyst. It's that piece in between that makes it happen. It's the hinge. The construction manager implements that plan. It helps get it from the design into the implementation. And so where we are, really, we are the orchestra leader. We do not design, build, or engineer anything. We don't need to play any individual instrument or be an expert at it. What we need to know is how to read the music and get everybody to play together to make sure what comes out the end is what's supposed to be beautiful music. And that's really what a finished building is, a finished structure, a bridge, whatever it is. It's beautiful music. It's something gorgeous, fantastic that comes together because of hundreds of people putting their little bits of effort in there and creating this. It's truly a team effort. It's one of the great human endeavors is providing these structures. So the architects and engineers design it, the general contractor and the trade contractors put these things together, and the construction manager is that orchestra leader getting everybody to work together in tandem and in timing. So what kind of projects can you work on? Well, you can just a small house, you can do even a tiny home or an accessory dwelling unit. That's a construction project. You can do series of homes like tract homes, production planned homes, master plan communities, hundreds of thousands of them. I've done those. Commercial buildings or complexes, which I've done as well. You can do industrial facilities, manufacturing, logistics centers. You can do institutional facilities, so government facilities, schools and prisons and those type of things, police and fire facilities, courthouses, infrastructure, roads, transportation, rail systems, airports, harbors, all that type of stuff. In fact, I want to point out the picture that you're looking at right now actually is one of our alums on a project site building housing at one of the University of California campuses there. So there's different types of projects and you can do different things on the projects. There's general contractors. General contractors are the contractors that take the contract for the entire project and then they parcel it out among the trades. They'll do some of the work themselves, but the vast majority of it, they hire other contractors to do most of the work because it's just too much for one group to do. There are construction managers. Construction managers, again, are the orchestra leaders. They tend to work for the owner as the owner's representative to make sure the owner's requirements are fulfilled. And they oversee both design and construction. Trade contractors, they work under the general contractors, and these are your specialists, your concrete, steel, carpentry, masonry, electrical, and plumbing. We have the material suppliers. Yes, when people who have construction management degrees go to work for material suppliers. They understand the terminology and the business and what's needed, and they can talk to those customers. So if you have a sales bent, that's a really good way to make a lot of money. Specialty consultants. Specialty consultants have a lot of different ways they come in. Maybe you're a dry utilities consultant. Maybe it's an expediting consultant getting things through permitting. Maybe it's just you're a hired gun scheduler or estimator. There's a lot of specialty consultants out there in this business to make it work. And I've worked with a lot of specialty consultants on projects. I've worked with projects for NAFAC and port districts and school districts and those type of things. And we do have a lot of specialty consultants that come on board. OSHPOD for the hospitals, those type of things. Okay, so we're looking at the top 10 skills now. This right here is looking at the top 10 skills that were just nationally projected for growth. And you'll see the construction management is at the top of this list at 23.22% projected national growth. Part of it is because there's such a huge demand and not enough supply. You probably were in the group like I was where nobody came to your high school and talked about being a construction manager. Well, you could talk about being a policeman and a fireman and a farmer and being a tradesperson and being an architect, an attorney, and a doctor. But no one ever talked about construction management. So most people don't know about it and until they stumble across it or someone tells them about it. So there's a lack, a real shortage of people that are trained and skilled to do this position and a very high demand for it right now. And of course, basic economics says when there's a low supply and high demand, things work out in your favor. The numbers of the construction industry right now, 81% of firms, according to the AGC, that's the Associated General Contractors, 81% of those firms are saying they're having trouble finding the workers, and they mean labor and management both. Labor is actually harder to come by than management, but both are very much in demand and very difficult to find for these companies. So the employment rate right now for construction managers is extremely high. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, they projected the growth of construction management positions by area. Now, we are in San Diego, and this webinar, while it's open to everybody, is really targeted towards the West Coast because that's where a majority of our students tend to come from, even though we can take them from almost anywhere. So the San Diego area is projected at 22.6% growth over the next 10 years. That's a very high growth rate, and that's a lot of positions that need to be filled. You know, San Jose, that's the Bay Area, is very close behind, and San Diego mirrors what the entire state average is. You'll notice across the country, it's a little bit lower, but 8.4 is actually a fairly high growth rate for when you compare it to almost any other positions out there, even across the country. But of course, the West Coast, very high demand right now, and all you have to do is visit any of the West Coast cities and see the cranes in the air, and you'll know that. So we're looking at the job-related availability by geographic area, actual numbers. We're looking at California, the far west in general, and then the national picture. And of course, you'll see that the estimated employment and projected employment, the 10-year difference, you see how it's going up, though, 147,000 in 2016 up to 172,000 plus in 2026. That's a substantial growth rate. There are 16,000 annual openings. That's a lot of positions that need to be filled. So this industry is not going anywhere. It's a very high demand. But can you make any money at it? You know, high employment's great, but do you make any money at it? Well, when we talk to a lot of the people we know, and if you're in this industry, you're one of those people that has worked in architecture engineering, you know construction managers get paid pretty well. They probably question that sometimes, but that's the way it goes. And a lot of it is that supply and demand factor. It doesn't mean that it's a better position or you have to be any smarter for it or you work harder. It just means it's a supply and demand issue, just clear as that. And so the wages are fairly high. United States average, the wages range from 55 as a starting entry level. You're probably at a higher level than that if you have already been working in the industry. You're probably closer to that medium to high level, which is going to be the national average of about 90,000 to about 190. In California, in the United States, 169 in the United States. California, it's higher because California's got a higher cost of living and a higher demand for the people. So you're talking 100,000 to almost 190 when you're in California and you're in that medium to high range. And believe me, I know a lot of people in this industry that can attest to that that's an accurate number. So you can check that out. This came from onenetonline.org. You can check that out if you want to verify those numbers and check. There's a lot of great information on there. So all these are available to anybody who want to check these numbers out. So by occupation, if we compare construction managers to other more trade-oriented positions in the industry, there's a substantial difference in the compensation. So perhaps you're one of those people that came out of the labor field and maybe you've got yourself a bachelor's degree and now you're looking at getting a master's degree and moving up into upper management. There's a big reward for that. And you know, there's no denying that education is not an inexpensive proposition, but it is a good return on your investment if you get the degree in the right field. So let's talk a little bit about what the program itself. You're probably wondering, okay, that's great. What am I going to learn? How long is this going to take? What do I got to do for this thing? And can I fit this in my schedule? And is this going to really help me? Can this help me in my job today as well as when I graduate? Well, this is a layout of what our program looks like. We have 4 terms. Now, for the students that are able to go full-time, they'll take 2 classes per term, and they will be done in 1 calendar year, 4 consecutive terms. And you can start in any term. You don't have to wait for the fall. You can decide to start in the winter, the spring, the summer. It doesn't matter. It's an asynchronous program. You start whenever you want, and you just go for 1 calendar year, and you'll be done. You'll take these classes. And if you are one of those people in the industry already working and you're thinking, I don't know, that seems like tough to fit in the schedule, you can take 1 class per term if you like, and that'll become a 2-year program for you. You'd be a part-time student, but you get through in 2 years, which is the average amount of time for most full-time master's degree programs. But you'd be going part-time, you'd take 1 6-credit class each term, and in 2 years you'd be done. Now you can mix and match that too. You don't have to commit to that up front. Maybe you start with 1 class, and then you take 2 classes, and then you get a little bit of downtime. So you take a couple classes, then you have busy time. You only take 1 class the next term. You can mix and match that by term, and go through at what works for you. So you can get through as quick as you can, but also balancing your work, your school, and your life outside to make that work. We understand our students are mostly working professionals that take this program, and it is something, it's something you have to bite off and make happen, although it's very much worth it. So we've designed this to get you through as quickly as possible. It's also online, so you don't have to conflict with your work schedule. You want to log in at 2 a.m. and reply to a discussion board, you can do that. So it is now, it's online, and some people think online becomes easier, that maybe there's less work, and I want to dispel that myth right out the door. This is a master's degree program, and it's master's level work. Therefore, there is reading and writing and work that has to be done. Online is flexible. It means you don't have to be in a class at a specific time and a specific place. So it's flexible time, not less time. So I want to make sure you understand that. There is a time commitment that you'll have to make. So participation is required several days per week, and you'll work that into the schedule. And because it's online, there's a temptation to say, well, I can fit that in tomorrow. Do not fall into that trap. Schedule it in your schedule as if it is a movable meeting you cannot miss. Like it's the meeting with your CEO, okay? Like it's a meeting with your doctor you can't miss. It's that kind of a schedule. You put those on your schedule and you stick to it. And no matter what's going on, you go to work, whether it's at your desk at work, at your desk at home, or if you're local here in San Diego, you can even come to the campus and use our computers and stay here if you want to schedule that time in to do your work. You're welcome to do that. Come into our library. But time management is imperative. And if you work in this industry, you know that is true in construction management, and it's true in this program as well. We do have deadlines. And when you miss those deadlines, you may not be able to turn something in after that deadline, or you may have a significant deduction in your points, and your instructor will determine that and let you know. So understand 10 weeks goes by very, very fast in this program. Remember, 5 weeks in, you're at midterms. 5 weeks later, you're in finals. And then it rolls over the next term. You'll get a couple weeks off, and then we go back at it again, all for a full year. Schedule that in, get the buy-in from the people around you, get the buy-in from the people you work with. If you need to clear this with your boss and make sure they understand what you're doing. Most employers will be very supportive of this. Make sure you get the buy-in from your significant others, from your family, if you have kids. Make sure they understand that for a while you're going to be busy. But when it's done, you'll have more time and you'll probably be in a better position with more pay. Group work will be required. Your group may be in multiple time zones. So you'll have to coordinate that with them. So understand that, but you'll also be learning from a lot of different people from areas where they do things a little different, and that expands your knowledge base in this industry. So it's 1 year to complete if you're full-time. Again, it's 2 years if you're part-time. It's completely online, start anytime. So our faculty, who teaches this class? We have a very top-notch level faculty. So the vast majority of our faculty have postgraduate degrees. In fact, I spent just recently, I was in Atlanta, Georgia with our master's degree faculty meeting with them. Why? Well, because most of them came out of Georgia Tech. It's one of those you hire one and they bring all their friends on board. And it works because we are happy to have people like that in our faculty. You know, Georgia Tech honestly is one of the best engineering schools in the world. We've got a couple other faculty that are outside of there. We have one that's got their doctorate degree from UCLA. The gentleman you see in the picture there, the older gentleman in the white hat, is one of our MCM faculty. He's our former chair. He has a long history of owning construction companies, development companies. He owned his own bank. He owned his own railroad at one time. He's very prolific out there. He knows project management. He knows business. He knows construction. And he's actually a licensed architect too. So. We've got good quality faculty. So we focus on integrating projects, meaning the future of the industry. We are a construction management program birthed out of an architecture school. That's our main focus of the school is architecture. And because of that, we've always been focused on the multidisciplinary project managers. Design build dominates the industry in most areas right now. And even the places in some areas where they still do design bid build, and a lot of that is some of the government sector, they do design bid build, but the truth is they're putting a lot of integrated into it even during the design part. They're going out and hiring construction disciplines to inform the design process. So design build is all over the place, and it's moving rapidly towards fully integrated project delivery. Our school, at NewSchool here, we emphasize transdisciplinary approach. We believe in cross-pollination of disciplines. And Our faculty understands that, and our program is built around that. And our program is built to help people that are non-construction management professionals understand project management so they can do better at their job, and also help construction management professionals understand the design process well enough, how to manage process, whether it's design, engineering, construction, whatever it is, just managing a team and getting to the end of the project, big picture approach. So let's talk a little about old school versus the new school approach. The old school construction was traditional means, methods, and materials. It was design, bid, and build. And the processes were largely unchanged, honestly, for centuries, more than decades, even centuries. That's changing rapidly. Construction is an industry that was very slow to accept and adopt changes, but it is changing. The new school approach is there is a rise of technology, building information modeling, on-screen takeoffs, virtual and augmented reality. There's a lot of changes coming into this industry. Estimating and scheduling in a virtual environment, the document control. I remember working in this industry, and every office had to have an enormous storage room because of all the rolls of plans and the binders and the files. Well, that's all on, it's on a server somewhere. It's not even located in that location now. There's some server somewhere that's got all this information in it. They don't need that space anymore. There's a trend towards sustainability, the green building, not just building to alter an environment to make it more comfortable, but building to fit within an environment and be very conscious of preserving the environment around where we're building. Safety and quality are becoming more and more important. The demand for quality, the zero tolerance for punch lists, those kind of things, and then the safety regulations, which are rightfully very strict because we're dealing with human lives there. That is the trend in the industry, and we address that. Environmental regulations, of course, are becoming more and more stringent, and again, that's to make sure that our buildings and the way we do buildings fit our environmental empathy as well. So a lot more sustainable products, recyclable. When we do demolition, can we achieve a zero waste? Those are things that are there in the industry now. Risk management and conflict avoidance, trying to stay out of court. I'm old enough to be in this industry when virtually every project ended up in litigation somewhere. The old design, bid, build process. I'm happy to say that it's been a while since a project I've worked on has gone into court, and thank God, because those were arduous things to go through. And that design, build, integrated approach really helps with that. And really the focus on the quality too. And so the integrated project delivery is something that is where the industry is going, and we address that. So we work with the industry. We don't want to be some ivory tower education institution that works in a vacuum somewhere. And we find out that we're teaching construction management for the 90s because nobody ever told us things changed. No, we are out there. Our faculty work in the industry. Both our undergrad and graduate faculty are working in the business every day. I still have my own company as well, and I do work out there. I do hired gun construction management. I do land development still. In the last couple of years, we've had 14 major construction companies hold recruiting events right here on the campus. We have partnerships with these companies where they help us. They come to our campus and talk to our students. They don't just recruit our students, they guest speak in our programs. They help sponsor our competition teams. They're a part of what we do, and our faculty works for these companies. So we have our CM students have found internships and full-time positions with this list of companies here and others all across the country. There's even some that aren't even listed that aren't construction companies. We have a couple of students working for major universities in their facilities departments with their construction management degrees. So I think that's probably a lot of information to digest I just threw at you. It was thick and fast. So you feel free to rewind this and replay it if you need to, but a better idea is to contact our enrollment department and ask questions, and they can give you more information. And in that vein, I want to bring Stephanie back on. Stephanie's going to explain to you what the application process looks like and how you can become part of this exciting program.
Thank you, Steve. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about what the application process looks like. And I wanted to drive home that NewSchool does have a discount, which we call like an industry scholarship of 15%. So if you're already working in the industry and you're thinking, I really want that next level position, then this would be a good opportunity for you. We also have other scholarships that are usually tied to merit, or which is your GPA, or need. So that's something to consider as well. Definitely talk to your enrollment specialist about that. But here's a list of those scholarships in particular. We do have a financial aid department that will work with you one-on-one to go over these scholarships and which ones you are eligible for. They all are on our website as well. So if you want to go to newschoolarch.edu, that's where you would find these. So our financial aid, like as I had said, they will go over the scholarships, maybe work study programs, grants, loans, military benefits. We are a yellow ribbon school. Because we're in San Diego, we do have a lot of experience with military. We have a huge Navy base here, if you're not familiar, also a Marine base up in Camp Pendleton. So we've worked with a lot of veterans. A lot of veterans love this program as well because they're able to do it while they're still out in the field. All right, this is the next steps on how to apply. So let's say everything that Steve touched on really hits home with you, and this sounds like a really exciting opportunity and you want to move forward. Then you would contact your enrollment specialist and they would go over which dates you could actually start this program. So there's about 4 dates a year, one every 11 weeks or so. So they can definitely go over which one will be the best fit for you. So the first step that I want to talk about is the online application. This can be found on our website where it says apply now. So you're going to fill that out. It takes 10 minutes. It's super easy. And then you can actually upload the rest of your documents to this online application, or you can send them to your enrollment specialist and they will upload them for you. So you will have to show proof that you are finishing an undergrad degree and will graduate before you want to start this program, or you will have to send us transcripts that confer your bachelor degree. So it does require a bachelor degree to be completed to actually start the program. There is a minimum GPA requirement. It's going to be a 2.7 or above. Now, if you're thinking, yeah, I didn't do so good in my undergrad degree, it might be below a 2.7. That's okay. Your enrollment specialist can go over what the next steps are, just a few extra steps, okay? So then we're also looking to see if you have any relevant work experience, okay? So you'll be submitting a resume. Now, if you don't have relevant work experience, that's not a big deal. We get people from all walks of life, political science, art degrees that have now decided to work in the construction management arena, or even just, you know, in construction in general. So don't be afraid to let that hinder you applying for this program if it's really what you want. The next step will be writing your statement of purpose. Now, this is just your entrance essay, your testament to why you want to become a construction manager. And what we're looking for really is, you know, what has your background been like that's led you to construction management? What are your goals for the future? And then also how you feel this program is going to help you achieve your goals. Now, the best part about this whole application process is that you have an enrollment specialist to walk you through every single step. And something that really diversifies NewSchool is that at every touch point in the enrollment process, but also ever onto becoming a student, you will always have an enrollment specialist at your side. You will have a financial aid advisor. You will have also academic advisor. You'll have a career service advisor who will also, if you like, appoint you an alumni who can be a mentor for you. Now, this process also doesn't require a GRE, so don't worry about taking that crazy test. And you will not have to, or the GMAT for that matter, you will not have to submit a portfolio either, so no worries there. So if you guys have questions, please connect with us. You can reach us at enrollment at newschoolarch.edu, and our phone number is listed here as well. We do work on campus. If you're thinking about stopping by, we are in the East Village on the corner of Park and G. Enrollment specialists are here Monday through Friday, usually around 9 to as late as 7 o'clock. You can find us on our website at newschoolarch.edu. And also we have a web chat service that you can chat with us directly if you have questions, but you don't have time for a phone call. So moving on, Steve, thank you very much for being a part of this web chat. You've been very informative, and we're so happy that everybody could join us.
Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate the information. And I want to thank all of you for taking your time and being a part of this. Any questions, please call, or if you're in the area, stop by our campus. If you're not in the area, find an excuse to come to San Diego. It's a great place to be anyways. And come visit us, talk to us. And most of all, I look forward to meeting you. I really look forward to meeting you at graduation and shaking your hand as you walk across that stage and start a new chapter of your